Hey guys, it's Todd from Like Minded Lunatics, bringing you, it's another Drink, Play, Swear. It's all we do around here. I mean, besides like desperately trying to ruminate over our disappointments in life, it's really all we care to do around here. Welcome back to the channel, welcome back to Drink, Play, Swear, and welcome back to Like Minded Lunatics. You know that Like Minded Lunatics is not just me here at Drink, Play, Swear. It's also, well, it's Ricky, who we'll talk to in a minute. It's Jim, we'll talk to in a minute. But it's also Mark, our fearless leader with the Friday night videos. What? Bang, is it over there? Please check those out if you haven't done so already. Bang. And also, please, bang, hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already so we can see how big this family of like-minded weirdos, degenerates, runaways, and ne'er-do-wells is getting. Gets bigger every day, and we're excited about that. Welcome to the family. There's no test. If you like what we're doing, then you're part of the family. All right, so what is it we do here at Drink, Play, Swear? Well, it's exactly what it sounds like. We play a game, usually a classic one, pair it with a beverage. Oh yeah, and we tell a story. Don't we do that too? Today, I am joined by my good buddy Jim. How you doing, bro?
Doing good, man. Thanks for having me on, brother.
And my good buddy and cousin Ricky. How you doing, bro?
Hey, man.
Oh man, thanks for being here just to play for us.
Absolutely.
This makes me feel so good, not just because he's a talented musician, but also because these old Atari games, they don't have any fucking music. And so he's gonna regale us with some thematic music today. So, what are we playing today? Well, this is part 2 of May, Utter Disappointment Month, both in the game and the story. But before we get into the game, that is Swordquest Fireworld on the Atari 2600. Yeah, we want to introduce our beverages as well. I've got one, just from Mark's fridge. This is an Austin East Ciders, which I'm more than excited about. It's the Mango Mimosa Light Cider. Jim, what are you doing?
I'm doing the Bear King Ladywood Hazy India Pale Ale with spruce tips. It reminds me of you a little bit, with spruce tips, as in your hair. So it's a little, very sprucey. I'm looking forward to this.
Thank you. All right, what do you got, dude?
Sunset Amber Ale.
All right.
Awesome.
Okay, so let's get into it because there's a lot to get through in a short amount of time. Like we did last week, I want to talk disappointment, and I want to have 2 parallel tracks going. One where we talk about the game. This is the second game in the Swordquest series. It's Fireworld. So, dude, would you get started in the game for us?
I sure will.
While I talk about Fireworld?
Yeah.
And then I thought Jim could tell us a story of utter disappointment, because who wants to sit for a full month and listen to my sad sack memories? No. So we're getting other folks involved this time. So Fireworld was the second game in the Swordquest series. And if you remember, the Swordquest series came with, yes, not just a game, but a promise of a series of games, 4 games, and a comic book to give you the narrative, as well as a contest where you could win as much as $25,000 after each game and as much as $125,000 in a promised final contest, an in real life contest where you proved you were the best Swordquest player. Earthworld Game 1 had been very successful, and yeah, there was a guy who walked away with a golden sword. The excitement about this game was drummed up in this series, and it was featured in comic books and on television. Fireworld was even bigger than Earthworld, and folks coming to compete in the contest was in double the size, you see. And Fireworld is, in my estimation, as equally dog shit game. How you feeling about the game?
I mean, horrible, dude.
There's a lot of yellow.
I mean, but I'm also playing like rubbish, so.
Right. Well,
I mean, the game's rubbish.
yeah, a little bit. So, but it was very popular in its time, especially among the high fantasy nerds. If I were of age at that time, I would have loved it. I would have loved it. And yes, at the contest that occurred for this, $25,000 was won by one individual, as well as a golden chalice. That's right, it was actually part platinum, part gold, with diamonds on it.
Like the Little John chalice?
And I have to imagine that, like, if you're that winner, that changes your whole lifestyle. Because if you're sitting around your dining room table with a platinum and gold chalice, like, that's going to change your wardrobe.
Right, because you can't just rock the chalice by itself.
You're going to be eating turkey legs more often, I feel like.
Of course, yeah.
So anyway,
Mountain Dew would look good in there.
as we leave Swordquest and the sort of disappointment of Swordquest, we actually leave week 2 Fireworld with Swordquest on top, being more popular than ever with a higher interest level than ever. Now, Jim, I'll jump in here for you.
Okay.
And play a little. I asked you to think about something that, I don't know, disappointed you, a life moment of disappointment. And we don't have a ton of time, but I would love to hear what you got.
Well, I've had many disappointments in my life.
Okay.
But I think one of the biggest ones, I come from humble beginnings.
Okay.
But I was always a very good student. And I got into my top 3 schools. I got into A&M, which was my backup school. I got into Baylor, as Mark would say, and I got into UT Austin.
Hard B and
Hard B when Mark talks.
Yeah.
So I got into Baylor, got into A&M, got into UT Austin. So my mom says, well, if you go to UT, which was my number 1 pick, every kid, not every kid, but most kids from Texas want to go to UT Austin. It's hard to get in. I got in.
Right.
And she said I'd have to live with my aunt. I wouldn't be able to live on campus.
Okay.
My aunt lived in outside Austin. It wasn't as big as it is now. Rural. Not to talk about anything, but she lived in a manufactured home park.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
And you're an 18-year-old kid. And you don't want to go live there.
Right.
Right? You want to go have the college experience. You want to live downtown Austin.
Downtown dorm, Guadalupe streets.
Guadalupe. You want to ride the little trolley that's only for UT students.
Hell yeah.
So then I immediately took a right turn, but not geographically and metaphorically.
Right.
And I said, well, you know what? In that case, I'll go to A&M.
Okay.
So we go to A&M.
Cultural difference, that's
very
huge.
Cultural, very, right? Yeah. So I found this off-campus place.
Okay.
It was a 2 large bedrooms, but there's 2 beds in this apartment. And you had to sign the lease for the whole, they told you, this is for the whole school year, whether you drop out or not. That amount alone was ridiculously expensive.
Sure.
I really didn't have anybody guiding me at the time, telling me what, financial aid. It was basically I had to do everything on my own. Ultimately, I decided financially it didn't make sense. So I ended up at community college for the first 2 years. It's with great disappointment. I had the grades, I did all the work.
Yeah.
And ultimately it got me a lot of nothing. Right?
And just before you go on, just to give context, you and I have had many conversations about how in grade school, junior high, high school, you were often by classmates called schoolboy.
I was made fun of.
Even though, of course, everyone's going to the same school and taking the same classes, you took school seriously. You liked being a good student.
Yes, it gave me validation to be the smart guy.
Right.
So I ended up at community college, but I told myself, well, you know what? I'll just transfer to UT Austin, my original plan, after 2 years.
There you go.
Lo and behold, however, I got a good job at the time, for my life at that point.
Sure.
At an insurance company who paid for tuition at certain local schools. They wouldn't pay for UT Austin, but they would pay for a local university. So ultimately, long story short, while I was disappointed, ultimately they paid for most of my undergrad and they paid for most of my master's degree. So it worked out. I didn't get the college experience. It is a big disappointment, but ultimately I got to the finish line. I ultimately, now I'm a faculty member at a top university, and have the same degree that other people have, and some people have really fancy degrees and make the same amount of money and do the same thing I do. So ultimately I got to where I wanted to be, but the path there was circuitous.
Yeah. All right, look, I actually beat a level, by the way.
Oh,
So what happens?
I don't like you, dude.
So what happens when you beat a mini game is you collect items. See, so I was able to pick up those 2 items. You have to imagine, because it's the fucking Atari, right? It's really frustrating. But I completed that task, so now I'm in a room with items. I grabbed the items. They're at the bottom bar there.
I was gonna say, is one of the items a blinking box? What the hell is that?
No, that's me.
Oh,
You're a blinking box, dude.
You remember the game Adventure? How you're just a box, So for some reason, even though they have a man-sized character most of the time in the game, when you're here, you're a box. So you take the items. It appears as though it's a bomb and a dot. Okay, and then I'm going here to the door. That's a door, see, and I'm back out. So now the concept.
That was weird.
I think I just hit a secret passage.
Uh-oh.
All right, man. Let's go.
What's happening? Oh, wow.
You blew it. You blew it, dude.
I mean, I feel like I'm in a secret area, so I have to try to beat this one. This is intense.
Do you have what it takes to beat the secret level?
No.
I have a disappointment story watching you play this game. This game sucks. It's awful.
Please regale us. We got like a minute or
Oh
two.
God, this is awful.
Yeah.
And I had the ET game, and I liked it. This is God.
Look,
There you go. You
bang, 2 levels defeated, and
got
look,
the bottle of whiskey,
bottle of whiskey and a
harpoon of some sort? Or I don't know.
So the idea, I think, is that you're supposed to lay down the items in the correct places to advance in the game.
Okay.
Though I've never been clever enough to figure that out. What do you want to say? You got like a minute. Tell a disappointing story. Because I'm fucking done with this. Do you know what I mean?
I got this really good gig when I was in high school to play at a prom, and my band sucked. And I had my snakeskin boots and my friend's jacket and everything, and we played. And then I watched the video later. My mom, I think, videotaped it, and I was like, "Oh God, we were awful." And I thought about that for years.
Now, in the moment, did you feel good about it? Like
I guess,
when you were
but I was
playing, were you
rocking
like,
out.
"I'm killing it"?
Yeah, man, it's like, man, I'm playing "Sweet Child of Mine" by Guns N' Roses, and I listen to it, and it's all like. And I'm like,
feel
oh,
that-
God, I suck.
I feel that way about like lecturing in college. Is like I'll have you got like 3 or 4 lectures in your back pocket that kill. The message is there. There's a little narrative. There are moments of sort of intensity. There are moments of quiet, and you really think that it works.
You got your jokes that seem extemporaneous, but they're not.
Oh, they're well planned.
Yeah.
And then you deliver, and the problem is if you have the same class to teach 4 times in a row, it's gonna get stale, isn't it? First time you're kind of tripping around trying to figure it out. Second time's maybe your best.
Often.
Third time is probably on par, but that 4th one is rough.
You're yawning.
And like
Your own lecture.
you're delivering your jokes like, huh? Like it just doesn't go well. When I finish and I think I've really killed it, and then I'm like, all right, guys, have a good one, and everyone just like shuffles out, disappointed with life. All right, we're all disappointed with life today and with this game, but I'm not disappointed with my company today. Thank you, Ricky and Jim, for being here.
Cheers, brother.
And hey,
Cheers.
in this segment, we finish our beers because we're big boys. So in between now and the next time we talk to you, we are Jim and Ricky and Todd. See you.